The British thriller film plays out like an intense frustration toward the reality faced by today's youth. Young people growing up in families lacking proper education. It's truly a nightmare. Eden Lake, written and directed by James Watkins, is like a scream hurled at a society steeped in violence, gangs, and fear. The film was inspired by a real-life crime that once shocked Europe. It has been positively received, holding a 78% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The story begins with a couple leaving London for a weekend camping trip. Jenny, played by Kelly Riley, is a nursery school teacher. Steve, portrayed by Michael Fassbender, is an attractive young man planning a sweet proposal in hopes of finding the perfect setting to ask Jenny to marry him. Their journey leads them to the idyllic Eden Lake, a remote lake surrounded by forest. The lake is fenced off in preparation for future development into a resort. At first, everything seems peaceful and quiet, but soon, the tranquility is shattered by a gang of local youths, an encounter that ignites a tense, brutal fight for survival. Director James Watkins shapes Eden Lake with a strong sense of realism, intentionally avoiding overt entertainment value. This allows the audience to experience the story as a raw, honest depiction of life in small-town England. Eden Lake can be seen as a stark portrait of everyday life. A striking early scene shows Jenny and Steve visiting a local bar to enjoy some wine. There, a woman slaps her child in front of everyone over a trivial matter, a sight that feels deeply foreign to the more civilized urban environment from which Jenny and Steve come. Watkins' intention with the film is closely tied to real-life social commentary, making his message both powerful and disturbingly relatable. The first half of the film is carefully arranged by the director with romantic and sentimental scenes, lowering our expectations for a thriller to the bare minimum. There would be little to talk about if the lakeside camping trip had gone by peacefully. But that calm is quickly shattered by the blaring music of a group of unruly teenagers. At this point, Steve approaches them with a polite request for privacy, leading to his first direct confrontation with the gang. This group, made up of local boys and girls from a nearby town, is led by Brett, played by Jack O'Connell. What seemed like a harmless move on Steve's part ends up dragging the couple into a deadly game of cat and mouse. What follows is a relentless series of escalating events. Their phone, backpack, and car are stolen. Fueled by anger, Steve decides to return to town in search of the gang. On his frustrated way back, he stumbles upon Brett and his crew in the woods. Tension reaches its peak when Steve accidentally kills Brett's dog, an incident that unleashes the boys' violent rage and ignites the horror that ensues. Whether intentionally or not, director Watkins paints a harsh portrait of rural life that sparked debate about the class divide still present in British society at the time. Eden Lake dives deep into adolescent turmoil, reckless passion, and an unconscious embrace of anger. Brett embodies the archetype of a true thug, aggressive, impulsive, and uncultured. His gang members are like his disciples, submissive and psychologically dependent on his dominance. Each character displays a distinct personality. There's the rebellious troublemaker, the timid yet cruel follower, and the carefree accomplice who silently accepts evil. Though Brett appears violently dominant, he crumbles in the presence of his abusive father, a powerful image that hints at domestic violence. This may well be the root of Brett's own aggression and cruelty, revealing a haunting cycle of violence passed down through generations. The film reaches its climax in the latter half, centering on the intense pursuit of Jenny. After narrowly escaping, she returns in a desperate attempt to rescue Steve. The pacing becomes taut and suspenseful, immersing us in a suffocating fight for survival. As she flees from her young pursuers, Jenny is thrust into a reality that starkly contrasts with her ideals, especially ironic, given her profession of nurturing and educating children. Director Watkins maintains a raw and visceral realism throughout the film. Jenny is forced to dive into filthy lake water, endure painful falls, bleed, and hide in grotesque, repulsive places just to stay alive. Watkins portrays not just a survival thriller, but a psychological state, a harsh exploration of human nature shaped by the environment. Yet, somewhere in the brutality, the director still touches on a sense of humanity. Jenny, hesitant but determined, eventually chooses to fight back. This decision forces her to confront a profound moral dilemma, the horror of having to harm children in order to survive. One of the most harrowing moments comes when she kills one of the boys, an act that shatters her emotionally and morally. Kelly Reilly delivers a stunning, deeply affecting performance in this role, truly astonishing in its intensity and emotional range. Eden Lake is exceptionally well crafted, progressing from serenity to chaos with subtle mastery. The melancholic, subdued score that persists from start to finish adds a tragic and helpless atmosphere. Watkins' choice of location, the quarry and the untamed forest, provides a hauntingly beautiful backdrop for the story. The chase scenes are gripping, and the use of unusual camera angles heightens the tension brilliantly. A seemingly minor character who appears early in the film, the young Indian boy Jenny and Steve encounter on their way to Eden Lake, carries symbolic weight. His inclusion serves as a quiet commentary on the lingering presence of racial prejudice in modern society, subtly woven into the film's larger narrative. Although Eden Lake wasn't the first of its kind, it arguably established a new standard within the horror genre, thanks to the exceptional performances delivered by every character regardless of age. The script is well constructed and diverges significantly from conventional horror tropes. Director James Watkins created a socially conscious film, one that serves as a stark reminder of the importance of proper parenting. In a pivotal scene where the parents discover that their child has died, the mother breaks down and screams, a line that feels both heartbreaking and deeply irrational. This moment reflects a common, misguided tendency among parents, a blind ignorance that contributes to generational cycles of harm. When children make mistakes, parents should take responsibility for teaching and guiding them, not deflect blame by reducing everything to kids will be kids. The ending of Eden Lake stands in sharp contrast to typical horror films. It leaves viewers with an overwhelming sense of despair, fear, and sorrow, a raw emotional punch that challenges our moral and social values. Yet, despite its bleakness, this may very well be one of the finest survival horror films you'll ever watch. Ultimately, Eden Lake imparts a clear and profound lesson. Every word, gesture, and action from a parent leaves a lasting impression and forms the foundation of a child's character. It is a haunting but necessary reminder of the power and responsibility of parenting.